What's up, guys? Welcome to your 111th Android tutorial for the new Boston. And what we're going to do in this tutorial is basically set up some stuff that we're going to need for SQLite and creating a database. And basically what our application is going to do is you're just going to enter a name and a hotness. Like if you meet a girl at a bar and you just want to, like, in the morning you're like, was she hot or not? You can check your phone and see what you ranked her on a 1 to 10 scale. And then if you meet back up with her and you're like, whoa, man, I must have been really drunk because I rated her higher than I thought. So that's basically the application. It's pretty shallow, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to hit an update, create some kind of database with the name and the hotness or the attractiveness rating. We hit view, and then it's going to pull up with that database. So first XML layout I called SQLite example, and as you can see, I have an edit text or 2 text views and 2 edit text. I had an age in there. I'm going to probably delete that, and then two buttons there. So let's go over to the code so you guys can match up exactly to follow along with. Now this SQL thing might take a little bit. I'll kind of explain what it is and what we're gonna do, but here we go with our edit text. I just called it ET_SQL name for the first one, and for the second one ET_SQL hotness. And for a button, I just referenced it as BSQL update and BSQL open view. So you guys can get that set up, or if you don't like this layout, you can set it up however you'd like. Next, we need to create a Java class. I called it SQLite, and it extends activity, implements on-click listener. Nothing new. Just added those 2 buttons and those 2 edit text, and we're going to set the content view to that XML layout that I just showed you. Set up our references. Again, nothing new. Just talking through what I've done so far, just in case. And then I set our on-click listeners and created a switching case to, we've done this many a times, just to determine which button was pressed. So that's one class. I called that SQLite example, and I put that one in our menu activity so you can select this class. Now we need another class that we're going to view our database. So I called that one SQL view, and it extends activity, and we're going to set content view to our next XML layout that we're going to set up. That one's called r.layout.sql view, like that. So there we go. Now we have to create this this XML file. So right now it's just blank. Probably talk through what we're going to set this one up as in this tutorial, and then also after you have that set up, you also want to create one more class that's going to handle all of our pretty much all of our database or SQL stuff, and I called that one hot or not, because again our application is going to be just judging the attractiveness of someone. So now that you have those all set up, again, this is just a class, doesn't extend anything or implement anything at the moment. So there we go. We have that set up. Now let's go into our SQL view XML file. Alright, and so just to do something a little bit different with this XML layout, we're going to use a table view. So I'll kind of explain or show you guys just a brief example of that. So we're going to go into our layouts, drag and drop a table layout here, and also 1 row. Then we also want to have 3 text views, so we're just going to drag and drop 3 text views and switch over to the code. We're going to format everything. Now we have, okay, maybe we didn't need to drag and drop that row in there, so actually we're just going to alright, and for first, everything's kind of messed up, not the way that we want it. For our first text view, we want this to be our names, and we don't actually need an ID for this, so we're just going to delete the ID for a text view, and we want it to fill parent for width, and fill parent for height, because we're going to use weight sum. So we're actually going to cut that text view and paste it within our first row here. So let me reformat. And now what we need to do is, actually we don't need to define anything for a row, so we're just going to delete everything for a row here. And as you can see, it added a few extra rows. We're actually going to delete that, delete all these extra rows. And then we're just going to drag our table, cut that, paste it right here, and let me reformat so you guys can see what's going on here. So basically we have a linear layout that's vertical, fills parent. Then we have this table layout that we want to also fill the parent for both width and height. And then we have one row. Within that row we have two text views, which we want both of those text views to fill, everything it can. So fill parent and fill parent. And we also want this third text view to fill the parent as well. And for this last text view as well, this is what we're going to actually get info from database. We won't see this text really because our database is, we're going to set our database information to this text view, but just for reference you can do that. And we're going to label this text view TV SQL info, something like that. Now for our second text view, we want attractiveness or hotness or whatever you guys want this application to do for the most part. And again, we don't need really an ID for here as well. So let me again format everything, check out how it looks. Looks pretty good. They're side by side on the same row. Next we just need to add some layout weight to each text view. So we're just going to add that real quickly. Kind of review here, but the table layout's something a little bit different, so thought I'd show you guys that. I mean, it might be convenient. You can do different rows, and then you can define how those rows work. It's really up to you what you want to do, but this is supposed to be a beginner series, so I thought I'd show you guys all the options, or most of them. Do something new every time. And as you can see, that looks pretty good. The only other thing that we aren't getting is our third text view. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap the content of our whole linear layout, which will kind of pull everything together. So for the height anyway. So wrap content, and let's check that out. So that looks pretty good. So that's table layout and introduction to SQL, which we're going to actually get into in the next tutorial. But hopefully you guys have everything set up. Again, we have created 5 things: SQLite example XML, SQLite example class, SQL view XML, and hot or not Java class. So hopefully you guys got everything set up, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one.